Wow. Brand new report comes out suggesting that Canelo can skip and not fight Jermall Charlo to do a 2-fight deal with DAZN to fight Bivol. And then Triple G. Had no guys, had Max, big drama. Yeah, punches. What happened to Charlo? We gonna talk about all that and more in this video. Oh my gosh, stay tuned. What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Make sure you smash the like button. Listen, I'm like fine wine. They say I'm aging better with time. It looks like Ego Stradamus is on the verge of striking again with Canelo Alvarez. Before I get into that, y'all need to smash the like button and subscribe to the channel. This is the illest spot, the #1 spot for all your boxing needs. Now, a report just came out today, and we're going to take a look at that. Canelo Alvarez could be on the verge of a 2-fight deal. So says ESPN. Boom. I pulled it up for you guys. It says Canelo is nearing a deal to defend his 168-pound titles against Triple G in a long-awaited trilogy September 17th, sources tell Coppinger. The trilogy is contingent on Canelo defeating Dimitri Bivol and Triple G beating Ryota Murata. Canelo versus Golovkin 3. Sources: Canelo Alvarez and Eddie Hearn are closing in on a 2-fight deal for the star's return to DAZN. Fight 1 would be Dimitri Bivol on May 7th, 175, and then fight 2 with Gennady Golovkin September 17th at 168 pounds. Now, this is what I've already told you. Golovkin, oh my gosh. Let me just keep going because I'm about to go in. No agreement yet. Canelo and Triple G must both agree. All right, it says the 2-fight deal is upwards of $85 million. Upwards of $85 million, allegedly. You know, if they can actually make the deal or whatever. Alvarez also mulled a 1-fight $45 million offer from PBC to fight Jermall Charlo. Could revisit Charlo if a deal falls apart at the 11th hour. Boom. We got action. Now, this is very atypical of Canelo Alvarez. Just when you think, you know, the better fight is going to get made and there's no problems. There were rumors that he was going to fight Charlo, which is clearly better than both of those fights to me, right? Especially here in America. Like, what's the point of Canelo migrating to America and building his star power and amassing a following only to continue fighting European, Turkish, Kazakh fighters that really aren't big fights in America? You know what I mean? And I got so many things to break down. I'll probably have to split this into multiple videos. This is why you should subscribe to the channel for the latest and greatest, because it's going to take me a couple videos to get all my true thoughts out. But one early thought is this, what I tweeted. I said, funny, when Canelo versus Caleb Plant negotiations fell apart last September of last year, the Nello Man fans claimed it was Premier Boxing Champs, PBC, and Al Heyman's fault because they wanted to lock Canelo into a multi-fight deal, and Canelo only wanted to do the one-off fight with Caleb Plant and remain a free agent. Fast forward to today, with today's news that I just broke from the ESPN story, they're talking about a 2-fight deal with DAZN for 2 Eastern European, Kazakhstan type fights. And this was the same commotion that PBC was blamed for Canelo Alvarez not getting cold feet in September. So to me, there's more than meets the eye. A lot of people, when Canelo did that, they speculated, like, was he on something and he needed more time? things like that. So you open up those types of floodgates when you keep fidgeting with the dates, but that's a whole separate story. But nonetheless, the point remains what I said in that tweet is it's ironic that Canelo Alvarez man fans, they stand for him. They were being Canelo stands or whatnot. And they were like, oh, Canelo, it's premier boxing champ's fault because they wanted to enter Canelo into a multi-fight deal. And he doesn't want that. He had a bad contract with Golden Boy and whoom. So at the end of the day, he wants to remain a free agent. He doesn't want to be bogged down with multiple fights on his plate. He wants to go on a case-by-case basis. And then Canelo came back to PBC and back to the negotiations and did the Caleb Plant fight later in, I think, November of last year, but it still fell apart for September, and these was the reasons cited. So fast forward to the future, how is he doing a 2-fight deal with DAZN, but the same fan base, the same Canelo base stated that Canelo wants to remain a free agent, so he doesn't want to commit like that. So that was all cap, because clearly he's willing to do a multi-fight deal because he keeps doing it with DAZN if this report is true. So in my opinion, I'm going to wait for Canelo to suggest what his next move is. I'll give him that benefit. I think he's owed that respect. But if these reports are true, oh, there's going to be a lot of videos. There's going to be a lot of slow singing and flower bringing. If my burglar alarm starts ringing, oh, I can't wait. But I'll wait for Canelo. Listen, I'm a be a nice guy here. I'm gonna be a nice guy. I'm gonna wait for Canelo to decide. And once it's official, and if this is true, and he's going to DAZN, then it's on. And y'all, I'm about to release the Krakens. Let's get it. I'm West Side. I promise you. We coming. Yeah. So, cause that is cap. Just when you think he's gonna fight a guy like Charlo, something like this comes up, and this is typical Canelo fashion. So it's not surprising if it does play out like this. Another thing, one of two things are happening here. One, this is serious, and Canelo, this is really the option that he's leaning towards, because that's not surprising if you know Canelo's track record. Or two, he is using the two companies, pitting them against each other, and then false showing interest in the DAZN deal, like, oh, I'm about to commit, to try to get PBC to jog up the price. And I hope Premier Boxing Champions are smart enough to take this into consideration, this possibility, because that's the oldest trick in the book, to get two different sides and play those sides against each other. You see what I'm saying? You even see this on movies where, a bad guy will talk to the Crips and then say, oh, the Bloods are saying this about you, blah, blah, blah. And then go over to the Bloods and then say, oh, the Crips is doing this. And then what happens is you create this, this war, basically. And then you just get out the way of the crossfire, and the same thing could be for a bidding war. You can play both sides, say, oh, hey, PBC, you better up the price, or I'm not fighting Charlo. I'll just go over to DAZN and fight Triple G and fight Bivol. But my thing is this, the amount of money and the numbers that are being thrown out here, I think they should let Canelo leave. I think 45 million for Charlo is an amazing opportunity and deal, because the most important thing, it's a bigger fight. So Canelo would definitely, I'm not the smartest brother in the world, but I know, and I really truly believe he'll get something on the back end, because that would clearly be a pay-per-view. So that deal is ultimately worth more than, like, in one fight, you can make more because it's such a great fight with Charlo and you have great fan bases. You can make more in that one fight than perhaps you can do in this 2-fight deal, because DAZN, they don't have a bankable, established pay-per-view like economy or system. PBC, they already have that. They already have that facilitated. I mean, of course, Canelo's last fight with Caleb Plant was on pay-per-view. So they have more weapons in that regard. So, we'll wait and see what Canelo decides, but I got so much stuff to say. Like, who's really expecting and hyped for the Canelo versus Triple G fight? Please let me know that. Please let me know, because at this point, at this space of time, Triple G didn't fight all of last year. He had 0 fights, 0. So he's inactive. Before that, After the Canelo 2 loss, he took like a year plus off, came back, and he's taking weak fights. And the only fight where he fought somebody worth the damn is Derevyanchenko, and he should have lost that fight. Now he's 40 years old, 41 years old, or pushing 40, or whatever the case is, right? And so inactivity, pushing 40, weak performances. Like, he didn't look the same versus Cesmeta. Cesmeta got no power, got no pop. Bro, like an empty vending machine, he ain't got no pop. That's a bar, write it down, right? So it took several rounds for Golovkin to get Cesmeta out of there, and he was just a guy surviving with no experience, no pop, and off heart or whatever, and, you know, somewhat of durability. And as I mentioned, Derevyanchenko fight, Triple G got cooked. He got cooked. And then before that, he fought Steve Rose, and he was even getting tagged in that fight. Now you want a 40-year-old Triple G, roughly, a 40-year-old Triple G who's been roughly inactive to come up to 168. The first 2 fights, it's a dub. That fight's trash. The first 2 fights were at 160. Now Canelo has way more experience as a whole, but definitely more experience in the 160 plus weights. He fought Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., 164.5. He had Rocky Fielding fights. He had a Kovalev fight at 175. He was even entertaining the Makbuk Air at cruiserweight. So he's clearly had time to acclimate with the Caleb Smith, Billy Joe Saunders, Caleb Plant type fights at the higher weights. Triple G has no relevant fights at 168 pounds. Trash. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. I can't wait. Canelo, make your decision, boy. And I'm out. The future is now. The Hibernation 5s by Kenichi Bear. Hybrid gaming and lifestyle headphones. Out of the box, you can connect to any console or PC. Bluetooth ready with a low latency USB adapter, color RGB, and extreme bass mode. The Hibernation 5s adjust to you. Whether you need a gaming, travel, gym, or lifestyle headphones, the Hibernations got you covered. The new Hibernation 5s, link in the description. Customize the way you hear the world. Welcome to the nation. Are you tired of your YouTube videos not getting any views? Well, consider TubeBuddy. I've used TubeBuddy for years to scale up my YouTube channel. Now we're sitting over 200,000 subscribers. TubeBuddy is a browser extension that offers a ton of built-in productivity and time-saving services to take your channel to the next level. Use my link in the description to get started with TubeBuddy and level up your channel faster.